Part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind / Adventure Area if your fancy is my favourite part in the series, and my favourite character from said part is something I always flip-flop on, but it usually is Abbacchio, Diavolo, or maybe occasionally Giorno. But today, on the day of me writing this script at least, Abbacchio is my number one, something I would confidently say most people would disagree with. As well, Abbacchio isn't exactly a fan favourite and isn't in the part as much as the rest of the Part 5 squad, minus Fugo. However, I love him, and hopefully by the end of the video you will too, or at the very least you'll understand why I do. And once again, this video will contain major plot spoilers for Part 5, so if you haven't read or watched Golden Wind, then please click off the video and check out something else of mine, as I can't have the guilt of spoiling someone on my conscience, no way. Oh, and also don't watch the video without liking and subscribing first, as if you do, you'll be affected by my stand and nobody wants that. Stupid gag out of the way, onto the video. Leone Abbacchio is angry, bitter and loyal to a fault. He was an ex-cop who took dirty money from a criminal in what was kind of an understandable circumstance, but such a small decision cost him everything. When Abbacchio met the criminal next, he moved on from Lazy the Knight to thievery. Abbacchio could not let the man go again, but if he brought him in, well, his identity as a dirty cop would be exposed. Such confliction was again understandable, but again cost him everything. His partner, in an attempt to save his life, jumped in front of the bullet the criminal had shot and died. The criminal was arrested and Abbacchio was outed as a dirty cop and was kicked off the force. If he had just accepted his mistake and arrested the criminal straight away, he would have been kicked off the force, correct, but his partner would have survived. Abbacchio fell into alcoholism and depression with nothing to do. This was until he joined Bucciarati's squad and gained a stand in Polpo's lighter test. Moody Blues, a stand that allows one to replay events in greater detail. Stands reflect their users, so of course this power fits Abbacchio to a T. That's because Abbacchio, even after finding a new home in the gang, still spent his days replaying that tragic moment over and over in his head. It was something that haunted him until his death. And although I will talk about Abbacchio's death and why it may be my favourite in the whole series, I want to before that discuss Abbacchio's relationship with Giorno, as it's one of my favourite pieces of characterisation in all of JoJo's as well. Both of them are very much alike. Now at first you may think what I'm saying is stupid, and I can understand why as well. Abbacchio just spends his whole time being an ass to Giorno, but trust me, this is kind of key to why they are so similar. Giorno is a dreamer. I mean, I, Giorno Giovanna, have a dream. That much is obvious, and he is an optimist. He really thinks at the age of 15 he could take control of the mafia and stop the drug trade, something a sane person would label as insane. However, this naive optimism is something Abbacchio had too, just in the past. Even though the cops of Naples were well known to be corrupt and unlawful, Abbacchio still joined the police force. Why? Because he wanted to make the world a better place and help people. He learnt of the contradictions the job came with, but tried to strive forward nonetheless. Just like Giorno, who stepped into all the gangsters with a goal to help others, Abbacchio joined the corrupt police force to help others and make a difference. However, unlike Giorno, who in the end rose to the challenge and did change the world for the better, Abbacchio did not, at least when it came to being a police officer. Abbacchio, despite trying his hardest to help, took a bribe and became just as bad as those around him. But this didn't have to be the end. Giorno did some pretty messed up stuff to become the boss of Abbacchio and lowered himself to the same level as those he hated. However, unlike Abbacchio, who let his mistake ruin him, Giorno accepted what he had done and let himself do messed up stuff for the greater good. Giorno was prepared to make tough choices and actions for the end result, whereas Abbacchio couldn't do that, though that's not to say that that is a bad thing. So the reason Abbacchio is so critical of Giorno is because he sees himself in the kid. Abbacchio doesn't want Giorno to end up like him, so he spits on his optimism. He is, in his own bitter way, trying to help Giorno, help him not fall by the wayside as he did. And knowing all this really puts all of Abbacchio's actions into perspective. He was a jerk because he cared, and although he and Giorno never got on in the end, I think Abbacchio would be both proud and impressed of what Giorno accomplished. Okay, a quick tangent, but I assure you it is relevant. So basically, I went into JoJo's blind, like I didn't even know Dio could stop time with Zawardo before I watched the Jotaro Dio fight. However, as soon as I got to part 5, I got spoiled, and if you've watched the channel before, you know how much I hate spoilers. Specifically, I was spoiled for one part 6 death and every major death in part 5 minus 1, and that one death was Abbacchio's, and that might have been one of the reasons I was hit so hard by his death. And I mean proper hard. To this day, I still can't watch his death without tearing up, as it's easily my favourite death in the series. Abbacchio's partner died to save Abbacchio's life. He accomplished something through his death. So in order to make up for his partner's death, Abbacchio had to live. He had to make sure his partner's sacrifice was worth it. But obviously that didn't happen. Abbacchio died and wasted the life his partner had saved. Or so one would think. But at the very least, to make up for it, or just because he is stubborn, Abbacchio had to make his death have some kind of purpose. His partner died to save him, so when he died he gave his friends a clue that would save their lives. And although the sudden deaths with no meaning like Narancia's death are gut-wrenching, this wouldn't do for Abbacchio. He again had to have some purpose even in death. So when he died, he held a piece of rock in his hand, knowing that Giorno would use it to find Moody Blues' last action, the death mask of the boss's face. See, once again Abbacchio did trust Giorno. He trusted him enough to bet his last action on it. Abbacchio's partner lost his life to save an optimistic cop, and Abbacchio in his last moments trusted an optimistic kid to change the world. And then we come to the restaurant scene. This is without a doubt my favourite moment in all of JoJo's and one of my favourite scenes in fiction as a whole. Specifically in the Part 5 anime, I mean the music, the way the colour becomes more vibrant as the scene goes along, the voice acting, it's all amazing and is the highlight of Part 5 anime, at least for me. Anyway, back onto the topic, we get to see Abbacchio's once optimism as a cop firsthand, through his interactions with his partner and his doubts of the cop system. He thinks his will to do good died when he stopped becoming a cop. But that was proven false, and then when he finally realises that, he is already dead, and he cries. However, in death he got the closure he always wanted, he was forgiven by his partner and made a difference for the greater good through his death. And why did he join the police? To do some good. Even if it was through death, he did some good. And this also lines up with Giorno being a good Jesus allegory, as he helps the members of the squad reach their fates, and sadly for Abbacchio that was through death, but through death he met his fate properly and was forgiven by his partner and got the closure he wanted. So again, Giorno is an amazing character. But this video is about Abbacchio, not Giorno, so let's move on. Just warning you, a very bad Abbacchio impression is incoming. I'm just that kind of guy, a worthless guy who can't see anything through to the end. I always screw it up halfway though. That is one of my favourite Abbacchio quotes and really sums up the tragedy of his character. He is a man who made a mistake that destroyed him, and then when he got a chance of redemption to do some good, he failed. However, in death he atoned for both of these things. He was forgiven by his partner and got the closure he needed to stop reliving the moment. And thanks to Giorno's will, his last action in life was not wasted. Because if not for Abbacchio's last action, the gang would never have found out about Diavolo's face, would never have been contacted by Polnareff, and would never get the Requiem arrow. He may have screwed up halfway and died, but his death wasn't in vain. Okay, I couldn't really put it all into words that well, but here you go. This is my reason for liking Abbacchio as much as I do. He is a great friendly foil for Giorno and managed to conquer his demons in the end, something very relatable to many people. I love Part 5 of JoJo's and I love Abbacchio, so for giving us this amazing story and this amazing character, I just want to say thank you. Thank you Araki, from the bottom of my heart. Look, this doesn't really have anything to do with the video, I just wanted to show off my Bam Presto Abbacchio figure, so here's some B-roll and then we'll get to the conclusion of this video. If you have an opinion on Abbacchio or think someone else is the best character in Part 5, then tell me in the comment section below. And if you have a suggestion for a future JoJo video or anime video as a whole, then again the comment section is below. Also don't forget to check out my Twitter at SethTheS for channel updates and just general chatter, or my Instagram at SethTheSin_cosplay to see my cosplays or random anime merchandise. So with all that said and done, I have been Seth the Sin, the Deadly Sin of Geek, signing out. Stay safe everyone.